This episode is sponsored by football's ultimate survival game. Let's see who's the final one standing.
AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date. Your players will be linked with a transfer move to Arsenal.
Welcome along to AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with players that have been linked with a summer transfer move to Arsenal. Of course, Arsenal playing today. Their first game actually at the Emirates. This new sort of summer games. They've had friendlies, of course, over in the Far East. Now at the Emirates, Arsenal fans will get a chance, Arsenal fans in the UK, should I say, will get a chance to see Victor Gyökeres in the flesh. Maybe Madueke, a player that they didn't get to see over in the Far East, will be playing as well. And also, you know, a chance to see players like Zubimendi, Norgard, Kepa. Some of the new signings that we've made, a lot of new signings this summer, but of course, we're greedy and we want more. A player that could be returning to Arsenal. He doesn't play anymore, but used to be an absolute legend at Arsenal. Went to Norwich as their number 2, but unfortunately Norwich ended up sacking the manager there, so he didn't get the permanent job, and that is Jack Wilshere, said to be returning to Arsenal to be part of their youth setup. Remember how successful he was previously in the youth setup at Arsenal, and you can see that from the youngsters that Arsenal have been producing: Ethan Nwaneri, Mars Lewis Skelly, and the latest one, Max Dowman, and that's just 3 out of many. So good to see Jack Wilshere coming back. Definitely going to be a top manager somewhere in the future. Now, just before I get into all of the transfers for today, don't forget, final one standing. If you haven't already got involved, this is your chance. Remember, ahead of the new season, a chance to win £500,000, right? All you got to do is scan the QR code on the screen or click the link in the description to get more information. Of course, you've got to be in the UK and 18 plus. How the game works is you must pick a team each week to win. If that team wins, you progress through to the next round. If your team loses or draws, you are out. And it's as simple as that. If you get all the way down to the end, you win £500,000. Easy to play, fun to play as well, right? So we're all playing it here on AFTV.
You lot are always in the comments saying that we don't know ball. Well, now it's your chance to prove it. Could you predict the Premier League if we offered you £500,000 to do it? We've partnered with William Hill to bring you final one standing. The rules are simple. Pick a Premier League team every week. Win, you stay in. Lose or draw, you're out. But you can only pick each team once. It's free to play, and there's £500,000 up for grabs. That's right, £500,000. Perfect. You need to have a William Hill app to play, so scan the QR code on the screen or hit the link in the description below to get involved. 18 plus, UK only. Please gamble responsibly. Terms and conditions apply, and full terms are in the link below. Let's see who's the final one standing.
Remember, terms and conditions apply, and you must gamble responsibly. Now, getting into the transfers, only place to start, of course, is with Eberechi Eze. That is a player that everybody, well, I think the majority of Arsenal fans would love to see coming before the end of the transfer window. Would really mark a really excellent window if we were to get Eze in. The journalist Steve Kay today claiming that Arsenal and Crystal Palace have agreed on an upfront payment for Eberechi Eze. If this is true, this is very, very significant. Of course, we've known about the release clause, which is apparently now expired. It's going to be paid in a couple of segments. Arsenal want to get it done by, say, for instance, paying £30 million up front and the rest of the fee in instalments over a couple of years. Of course, Crystal Palace will want as much money up front as possible, or they will not sell. And as I said, the journalist Steve Kay is saying that Arsenal and Palace have agreed on an upfront payment and that they will discuss the remainder of the fee before Sunday's Community Shield. Of course, Crystal Palace, they won the FA Cup. They're taking on Liverpool in the Community Shield this week at Wembley. And of course, if Eze's not bought by then, he'll definitely be playing in that. It's significant if true, but we're going to have to wait and see. There's been so many rumours flying around with regards to this. The journalist Mike Brown also claiming that Tottenham are stepping up their interest in Eberechi Eze. Of course, James Maddison done his ACL in that friendly over in South Korea for Tottenham. And they also missed out on Morgan Gibbs-White. So they've got a problem now in the attacking midfield area. And they're looking at Eze as a player to solve that. They originally wanted to get Eze. But it's going to be interesting, so interesting to see how this one develops between now and the end of the transfer window. But according to those reports, Arsenal stepping up their interest now in getting this deal done. There's also a lot of reports that this deal is dependent upon the sale of Fábio Vieira. Now, we know that about these rumours this week that Stuttgart over there in Germany, they're very interested in signing Vieira and even putting a bid, which was rejected apparently by Arsenal. The situation for Stuttgart is that they're about to sell Enzo Milo to Al Ali over there in Saudi Arabia for around about £24 million. And they'd like to get in Fábio Vieira as a replacement. Arsenal value Fábio Vieira around about £26 million. But, of course, there's all these clubs over there in Europe. They want him for significantly lower. They'd like to get him for around about 20 million euros, which is way lower than that. Now, Arsenal could be open to a lower fee if they add on maybe a 20% sell-on clause into this deal. And if they did do this, this could possibly get the deal concluded. It's going to be interesting, again, to see how this one pans out, because as I said, Enzo Milo set to be going to Al Ali over there in Saudi Arabia. Arsenal, though, needs sales. I was looking at the stats yesterday. They've got the highest net spend of any club in the transfer window in the Premier League this season. £192.6 million they've paid out in buying players, but they've only bought in 6.9 million in sales. Got a significant amount of money off their wage bill, but only 6.9 million pounds in sales. They're looking to make some more sales, and Fábio Vieira is right at the top of that. And as I said, a lot of reports that his sale could usher in the, bringing in Eberechi Eze. So hopefully Arsenal can get something sorted out on this very quickly. Now, this one was interesting. Gabriel Martinelli, who a lot of people have been sort of casting a bit of doubt on, saying that, is he the answer on that left-hand side? Reports that Aston Villa made an inquiry to sign Martinelli, but were told by Arsenal he is not for sale. So Aston Villa interested in Martinelli, but told by Arsenal he's not for sale. Arsenal apparently will only entertain offers in excess of £70 million plus add-ons. That's a lot of money. And, they'd want things like buyback clauses, sell-on clauses included in it as well. They do not want to sell Gabriel Martinelli. Mikel Arteta is a big lover of him, loves the way he plays, loves the way he works for the team, and thinks there's better to come. But Martinelli, approach made by Aston Villa, but that not backed by Arsenal. They do not want to sell him. Also reports today that Arsenal are interested in a player that's been in the past described as the new Son. I don't know if that's just because he's from South Korea, why this label's been put on his head. But listen, he's a very talented player. Kang-in Lee, who plays for PSG. Now, Football London claiming that Arsenal are interested in signing him before the end of the transfer window. He struggled for game time at PSG. Of course, PSG got that excellent front three of Doué, Kvaratskhelia, and, it's, very, very difficult to break into that team. Dembele as well, of course, there, it's a real task to get into there. And he struggled for game time for PSG, and his future has been up in the air. Arsenal said to be interested in him. PSG, you know, his valuation around about 25 million, could want more for him as well. But interestingly, I don't know. I mean, it's Football London who are claiming this, but I don't know how much Arsenal will be interested in him. He's predominantly a right winger. We've got now Saka, of course, and Madueke's coming, who plays on there. Can play as an attacking midfielder and as a right winger. I mean, is this sort of a player that maybe they'd look at if they couldn't get Eze? But predominantly, every time I've seen him, he's more been a right winger than anything else. And we've already got Madueke. I just can't see that, but it's a rumour that's out there today. What's going to happen with Jakub Kiwior? Juventus, the latest club to be interested in signing Jakub Kiwior. They've been interested in him in the past, of course. They're willing to sell Lloyd Kelly, who they only bought in last season, for a fee, and use that to try and get Jakub Kiwior as a replacement. As I've reported previously, Arsenal very reluctant to sell Jakub Kiwior. Mikel Arteta is a big fan of his, and there's even been rumours that they could offer him a new contract with a significant pay rise. I mean, his current contract is until 2028, but they still value him at the club. But they do know that he would be a player that would bring in, you know, quite a big transfer fee. And as I've said already, you know, Arsenal were the biggest net spend this transfer window out of all the Premier League clubs. So still could go. If he doesn't go, could be offered a new deal. Jérémy Jacquet, remember I spoke about this one at the start of the week, that Arsenal put a bid in for him that was turned down by Rennes. We're now hearing that Liverpool are also interested in signing the very talented centre-back from out of France. However, he's unlikely to leave this summer. Rennes, you know, they only just tied him down to a new contract and they want to keep him. That's going to be one to watch in the January transfer window. But Arsenal said to be interested in him, and now also Liverpool. Liverpool interested in a lot of players that Arsenal are interested in at the moment. So those are the transfer rumours for today. We get to see some of our players in the flesh today as well. That's going to be very interesting to see. But who else will Arsenal bring in before the end of the transfer window, and who is going to be moving out? It's going to be a busy couple of weeks here until the end of the window, which is shuts on the 1st of September. Thanks for watching the show, and I'll see you tomorrow.